This layout is called Circles and Circles, and it's quite a simple layout. It's basically the tools we're using for this are our custom cutting system, circle system. So with the custom cutting system, let's move these out the side so you can see it. You get the 3 circles that will, each of these templates will cut 6 different sizes in corresponding with the blades. So the blades are separate, this is separate, and then the mat's separate, but they all work together and to create fantastic circles. And this system has been around for well over 20 odd years and still works perfectly today. So let's show you what else you will need. So the 3 circles and the guide, and you will need tape runners, possibly a pair of scissors, and then embellishments. Now I have a few embellishments put aside, but also because my photos are almost a jungle theme, I wanted to use a couple of our border punches. This is a very old one called Garden Vine, but it kind of has a jungle feel. Unfortunately, you can't get it anymore. There is the grass border punch that was a recent promo, and this one, this tropical leaf punch, was from quite some time ago too. So unfortunately, there's a few punches that you can no longer get, but you could use whatever embellishments will suit you. So let's get started. Move these out the road and let's show you exactly what we're using for this layout. So like I said, my photos had a bit of a tropical theme. These are, my daughter does children's party entertainer, and I've had these for a while. I wanted to do something cool with them. So this is her in costume, ready to go entertain some children. So I'm going to be cutting these into circles. The papers I'm using a mixture out of 2 of our collections. So a couple of sheets of paper from our Boho Escape. It has, as you can see, some tropical themes to it, but you could use whatever you like. So I'm going to cut some circles out of this, and this one here, as you can see, I don't know whether you can see it up close to see the pattern, it has that almost like a sugar cane but tropical sort of feel about it. Jungle, I guess jungle is the best word for it. So that'll be my background. And then I've chosen some papers out of the Tone on Tone Vitamin C, and a couple of other bits out of that. So there's this one here, which is it. As you can see, the pattern is that leafy tropical pattern, and there's the same one in the green, but I think they'll work together with the boho really well, with the Boho Escapes really well. I chose a couple of cards out of, I think that's quite jungly, out of the Vitamin C Matte Pack. I really like this title. And some cardstock. So some dark green, some bronze shimmer, and this one was out of our latest cardstock buffet that Creative Memories does regularly, called Meadow. So I think they will all work with the photos beautifully. So our first step is going to be cutting our photos. Now I wish I had some larger photos to cut for you, because that would work really well. And these were from a mobile phone, so you can see some of them have got the wide edges, so they may be a little bit tricky to cut. But we want different size circles to create some different themes with this layout. So to have a look at what size circles you can cut, obviously this large one is going to be for larger photos or cardstock or paper. So unfortunately I'm not going to be able to get probably this size or this size out of it, but I may be able to get them this size. So let's have a look. So this one you can see, I'll be able to get it, which is the small one here, just on the outside with the red blade. This one here might also be the same. I think that's going to be the same. And these ones we might even have to go a bit smaller. So maybe the inside on the red blade of this large one. And that one might be the same because of this white edges. But we want to cut as many circles as we can. So with the custom cutting system, if you're not familiar with it, get these out of the road. The way it works is once you work out what size photo, so let's cut this one first. So I'm going to use the largest template. You can see it's this big one. And I chose to do this purely because our custom cutting system has been around a very long time. And if we line it up, I can see exactly where that's going to cut. And I think I might be able to just get, oh, the green edge will be perfect. If you can see where that black line is on the guide, that will line up with the edges of your template. So this is a really good lesson in how to use the custom cutting system. See, I think the red is going to just do it. I might push that up as far as I can. I think it's going to be very close. Like I said, I would have loved to have had photos that I could cut slightly larger, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do that. So you can see the red, if I'm going to go with the red line, I would need the red blade. If I was going to go with the green line, I would use the green blade, and the same with the blue. It's as simple as that. So we're going to give it a go with the red blade. I'll just pop that to one side. Now how it works is that your blade, turn it upside down, and the blade's there, and push it back into the cap, and that'll give you something to hold on to. If I show you how that works, those two little lugs will need to go into the track. So you can see that's how it works. And the blade is self-rotating, so it'll rotate. You don't have to adjust your hands. Same as if it's on the inside, it'll work exactly the same. So let's go ahead and cut, and hopefully I've lined it up just perfect. Now you don't want anything to move. I would go around a couple of times to make sure that it's well and truly cut through, and then just give it a bit of a lift to make sure we've got all of it. And there we go, there's a circle cut out, and you can see how perfect that is. It's all neatly cut. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest and then come back to you. Now I'm going to cut some rings using the custom cutting system out of this paper and the couple of the other vitamin C papers that I have. I'm going to cut some circles and rings out of it to add some interest to our page. So out of this one, I'm going to do the very large one on the outside. So to create a ring, and I want it to be as wide as it can be, let me show you the guide again. So it's going to be between that red and blue blade, creating quite a large ring. So the first, what we need to do is using the blue blade first. So I'll take both the caps off and then the red blade, so they're ready to go. And without moving the template, and you will need to line it up to make sure you don't get flat sides, go around, right around the outside. Once you've used these for a long time, you don't use the guides too much anymore. So if we go around a couple of times, make sure it's all cut through, and give it a bit of a wiggle. Yes, that's all cut through. Then without moving it, we're going to take the red blade. and cut all the way around again. Now, if you choose a paper that has quite a nice interest on the other side, you'll be able to use the leftover circle as well, because you'll get such a nice contrast. I think I might be able to do that with this. So let's have a look. Yes, so here's that piece of paper. There's our first circle, and like I said, so we might even turn that over and use that side, and then we will have this lovely large circle to use on our layout as well, as you can see. So there's one lot. Going to do the same again with this next size circle, exactly the same. And let's see what's on the other side. It's a dark green, so we could probably use either side of this if we want to use the middle circle. So once again, the Creative Memories tools really are amongst the best on the market, and they last. The circle, custom circle cutting system that I'm using, the circle templates, I purchased when I first started Creative Memories in 2003, and I'm still using them to this day. So that's close to 20 years, and they still work just as well. So once again, I could possibly use that side as my ring and the inside as a circle if I wish to use that. And then the last one, we will do exactly the same once again with the small. And it's going to create a nice definition of different circles and rings to use on the layout. Now I could even go smaller again if I wish to, by doing them on the inside tracks. But well, let's see what this is going to look like before we decide whether we need any smaller ones or not. Okay, another circle, which we could probably use that side, like, because this is exactly the same pattern as the green from the vitamin C. And then we have a lovely circle to use as well. Now we're going to pop the whole layout together. I have gone ahead and pre-punched out a couple of the garden vine borders using Bronze Shimmer and our dark green, and I'm going to adhere them to the top of each other as so, pretty much all similar to that. So it creates some interest and contrast. So I'm just going to use this mat here, and we will turn the green one upside down because it's the one that's going on top. And if you haven't used our repositionable tape runner, these are amazing. So all you need to do, whoops, is run completely over the top of your punched border. And because this has lots of cutouts, you could imagine using a glue pen or a standard tape runner where you've got the little bits would be a nightmare. So let's have a look. Lay that out. It doesn't have to be exact, just a rough over the top. Oops. And the best part about this, if you're not happy with where it's sitting, it's so easy to lift, and that's hence the reason why it's called repositionable. So there we go. That's roughly good enough. And that is going to go across our page as such. So what I will need to do now is turn it over and, oh, wrong tape runner. And this is why I have them different colours, right? So I'll need to fix that. Okay, we've got rid of the tape runner off it so I can use the repositionable. Please make sure you pick up the right tape runner. It helps a lot. I'm just using a piece of laminated mat behind it so it doesn't stick to everything, because it's got tiny little dots, and so certainly is easy to stick to things. So I'm going to pop that across the top. And if it goes over the edge, that's all right. I'll be able to just trim that with a pair of scissors and just get rid of the bits we don't need. In fact, if I just lift that, we should be able to get rid of that last bit right there. Fantastic. And I thought I might use, this was out of the Vitamin C laser cut borders, and I just really like the way it sits. I cut it off the top of another border because I use the other part of it, but just want to pop that on top and you'll see it all come together. Once I have this all together, we'll be able to see where our photo placements are going to be. Now I'm going to use some repositionable tape runner for the photos because two of them, as you remember, I cut into circles, but the other two, when I went back and had a look, well, there were things like this lovely necklace I wanted to keep in it and her costume at the bottom. I didn't want to cut that off, so I've looked at a bit of a placement thing, and I think I can get away with using them set out kind of like that. So we're going to stick them down and just use repositionable tape, because if I need to move them, once again, I can move them. So let's pop that about there, roughly. I'll place this one up higher up, and I may need to move it because we don't want, I've got a large ring going here and we don't want it to go over the top. This way I get to keep those things that would have been cut out of the circle. So if you wanted to just use all circles on the page, make sure that you have photos that can be cut into circles. So that's fine if it lays across like that. I just didn't want it to cut out the whole thing. So if we have a look, place that over there. Let's see what we need to move. I think that's going to be good. And our third ring will go about here. Just checking for placement. And then we've got room for the last couple of photos before we embellish. I think that's going to be okay. We might just have a look, or we've got all this down at moving these across slightly. And of course other adhesives won't allow you to do that, so I just might see if we can move these across to give us a little bit more room. That might be a better placement. And then that way that bottom one won't be quite so cut off. And I'm not cutting her face off. Okay, so I'll continue to stick the rest of that down. So if you use repositionable tape runner for your rings, and so you can still move everything as you're putting it down, it'll make it a whole lot easier. So I'll come back to you when I've got all this stuck down. Okay, we've got another couple stuck down, and you can follow me doing the rest of it. So that's our rings. You want to overlap them so you get that three-way circle. And now that is going to go there, which will cover up the middle of this ring, but that will be fine. I could have chosen to matte my photos, but I think there's kind of a lot going on, so I've decided not to. Can we fit that in the corner? Just there. Okay, now the last bit of embellishments to go. I remember I said I had the tropical leaf punch. I have pre-punched out some of the leaves using the Meadow cardstock, and I just want to place them along the top. So let's get our little mat out to use with the repositionable tape. And I think that'll be nice if we can kind of just lift that a little bit and slide them underneath, especially for the end ones. Now this is an emboss punch, so I'm just paying attention to which side is which, so that I don't have the embossing upside down. And it's amazing the sort of layout you can create using circles. I think it's, you know, such a fantastic tool. Unfortunately, not all photos, as you can see, are perfect in a circle, but these that had the white edges, they just were magnificent. I think I'm going to move that across so we get it a little bit more in the center. And out of the Boho Escapes and Vitamin C pack, I've got these terrific leaves, which if we keep this tropical leaf punch up, I think we'll do something like that and it'll be finished. I'll put them over that way. The repositionable tape, if you get it caught on your mat, we have found that the, what's it called, Orange Power Goo Lifter is the best thing for removing it, and it works a treat. Because this is why I try to use a laminated mat or a mat of some sort so it doesn't get stuck to my cutting mat. Couple more embellishments. Now I said I was going to use this title, I've just remembered about that, so let's see if we can pop it right there. Let's see if we can cut that and pop that there, just to finish it. So far I like that. Let's have a find that those little mats. There's one. My pile of mess. Is anyone else like me and you just end up with so much stuff? So let's see how we go. Red blade. Now I'm going to cut the mat, but I'm going to use our, instead of using the custom cutting system, I am going to use our circle cutter for this, for the mat. Now, has that cut all the way through? I think it has. Oh, could have been slightly over to the other side, but that'll be fine. So there is our, it's hard to do it when you've got a camera in the way. So this is our circle cutter. You can draw circles and you can cut circles with it. So I've pre-set it up. It goes from 3 inches to 12 inches to cut, and from 3 inches to 11 to draw. So I've set it up roughly where I think it might go. Because I just want to make sure I get it in with this kind of animal print. Card. And hopefully that'll turn out right. So if you can see where the blade is, you've got like ½ an inch from the edge there to play with. So we're going to catch it there, and hopefully we're going to get it there. So once you've got it in place, squeeze, push down on the center, squeeze the blade, and hopefully I've made that big enough because I don't have another piece of card. Otherwise I'll be matting it with something else. I probably should have tested it first, but that's all right. That looks like it's cut all the way through. Yep, tiny little bit. And that will work. So pop that out the road. Stick that down. Our variety mats usually run portrait and landscape, so got to make sure you don't stick it down the wrong way. Gives us a bit of an idea. Hopefully that'll fit right there. I think we'll lift these and pop it underneath, I think. Right there, I think will work really well. All finished, and that is my circle in circle layout. Enjoy.